In a world where dinosaurs and humans live side by side, an apatosaurus named Arlo makes an unlikely human friend.
Hi, I'm Andre.
I'm Michelle.
I'm Emily.
And I'm Luis.
And we are the Walt Vault, a family-friendly podcast where we get silly and talk about Disney movies. Hello and welcome to the Walt Vault, episode 13.
Diplodocus.
Oh,
Diplodocus.
We're naming dinosaurs on this episode.
because Emily knows nothing about dinosaurs.
Charizard.
Not a dinosaur.
Technically a dragon, not a dinosaur.
Newt Scamander.
Definitely a dragon.
Definitely a human.
A human
Wizard.
Is definitely a lizard too.
It's fine.
A wizard lizard?
A wizard
He's a
Dig it.
Newt Scamander is a wizard lizard. You guys, we're talking about
That's the best thing I've ever heard.
Dinosaur on this episode. The Good Dinosaur is the 2015 Pixar 3D animated film.
Feature
film.
Yeah, what are your first impressions on this, Andre?
Oh, we're doing my
Because-
first impressions first?
Well, Andre
firsties.
and I watched this movie maybe a couple of months ago, but we watched it very late at night, so in the first 15 minutes, he fell asleep.
I remember vividly this movie being announced and like the new lineup of Pixar movies coming out.
I do not.
at D23, probably like 2 or 3 years ago, right?
Yeah, it was probably like
Not
if
like
this
the
movie
last
came
time,
out,
but the one
if
before
this
that?
movie came out in 2015, that announcement was probably like 2013 or 2014. Or
I feel like
that.
it was the same time that they announced Star Wars landed. It was that D23 because I remember that Michelle and I were supposed to have gone to that one.
Yeah, we were. That
And
was the
then
one no, I think you're right. Yeah.
and then we didn't, and then all these really cool things happened, and we looked at each other like, "Wow!"
Yeah, I
life.
remember that. We were very upset.
Yeah.
Refresh my memory. How were you going to go there?
Without you,
But how? Like, I don't understand what was going on.
like
It's a
get in the
convention.
car and drive and get there,
It's
and
a
go to a
convention.
convention.
We were going to go to the convention
Yeah.
where they announced that they were going to have this movie.
Well, I don't remember.
Okay, so does someone want to explain what D23 is? That's my own fault. I'm sorry.
D23 is a Disney convention that they hold every year.
Every
No,
other
every
year.
other
Every
year.
other year in Anaheim or some.
At
Yeah,
the Anaheim Convention Center.
That's right. And
See,
they
we should just talk. Go ahead, Andre.
We'll talk about it. So,
yeah, you guys talk about it.
D23, you can be part of like this D23 fan club.
It's like an exclusive
yeah,
Disney
it's like an
fan club.
exclusive. It's Comic Con for Disney.
Exactly.
Yes.
There you go.
a
To sum it up.
Disney convention.
And
We've
so,
never been. I would love to go.
and it's really cool because it's a multiple day event, and you go and you can see panels with like stars, so like people who are in the movies or producers or writers, and they go in and they do like explanations on new things that are coming out. That's when they do big announcements. And I remember
And old things.
specifically. Oh yeah, and they
Sometimes
like bring out like stuff from
Animator
archives,
panels and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they have super crazy vendors.
But you're right. They announced like a lineup of Pixar movies, correct?
Mhm. And that's actually the first time that we heard mention of a lot of movies. We
Yeah.
heard like Cars 3, we heard Incredibles 2, we heard
Coco.
Coco.
I
The
don't
Good
remember.
Dinosaur.
Finding Dory maybe was in that announcement.
But I remember Coco was last.
Yeah.
I just remember that one being like, oh my god.
Like
Yeah.
the picture people posted. Like these
right,
are the
it was just
movies.
the,
Yeah.
the logo. So I remember being like, I was like meh on Cars 3 because I didn't care too much for Cars 2, and then I remember being like excited for Finding Dory and super excited for Incredibles 2, and then I was excited for the concept of the Good Dinosaur, and then I wasn't excited for Coco.
Which is hilarious,
I
right?
just didn't know what it was about, and all I saw was the image or whatever. And I was like, hey, whatever. But the Good Dinosaur, I was like, oh, dinosaurs! I like dinosaurs. Cool.
Because you're a
Because you're a dude.
boy.
I'm a boy, and boys like dinosaurs.
See.
Do you contest, Lou? Boys like dinosaurs?
Yes.
I'm
Okay.
sure there are some lady archaeologists out there that are.
I'm sure.
I'm
that
so
love
sorry.
dinosaurs.
So your first impression was that you
So,
were
My first,
kind of excited?
I was excited for it, and then the trailer came out, like the first teaser trailer, and that was a good trailer because it was like this is an alternate universe where dinosaurs didn't go extinct. And I was like, oh, all right, I'm into this. And then I think the movie actually came out, and it didn't get stellar reviews, so I didn't go see it in the theater.
Neither did I.
And
I don't
then-
think any of us
None
saw
of
it.
us
in the
did.
theater.
None of us saw it in the theater.
did it not share a release date with another movie that kind of overshadowed it?
Wasn't it
Star Wars?
It came out in
No.
like November of 2015.
When did
So actually,
It
Star
was
Wars is
very.
December.
It was like a couple weeks before
The Force Awakens.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
That's
so
what
that's
it
why,
was.
in my opinion,
Yeah.
probably
Maybe.
is
which
not
was
as-
the most, like, to me in our generation, that movie had the most hype that I can
Yes.
Oh,
remember.
for sure.
The
And I
most
also
hype.
feel just like, okay, so my first impression of The Good Dinosaur is I literally don't remember any marketing for it or anything. I don't, and I always go and see every Disney and Pixar movie in the theaters, and for some reason this one skipped over for me. I don't know if I was busy or something like that, but I don't remember anything. And the only reason I kind of was like, what's The Good Dinosaur, is because at my job there's this book and it has like a short from every single Pixar movie, and the kid was reading about Arlo, the good dinosaur, and I was like, what is the good
Who
dinosaur?
is the?
So then I looked it up, and then Andre and I watched it a couple months ago. But my first impression is that's a very good movie. I just wasn't aware it existed.
Yeah. So by the time we got around to watching it, that time that I fell asleep, I was like
Womp womp.
not sold on it. You know, I was like, all right, this movie
Non-committal.
Yeah,
You
I
were
was very
tired,
non-committed. I was sleepy. I was giving in to sleep, and so this time when we watched it, I liked it, but it still wasn't like a stellar movie to me. You know, this is pretty low on my like Pixar list of movies for sure.
I can agree with that. What about you, Lou? What's your first impressions?
I really liked it. I just sometimes think that when we go into watching a movie, we're expected to get like blown out of our socks, amazed.
Well,
That,
especially
you
for
know,
Pixar
Especially
movies.
Pixar
Yeah.
is very hyped, yeah.
I don't really think I go into movies thinking like that, so that's probably why I like this movie the best. I really, really liked the story between Arlo and Spot.
It's
Yes.
it's great.
What's going on between them? And plus, you know, I'm a guy. I like dinosaurs, so there.
Dinosaurs.
I do not like dinosaurs, so I was not
What are
overly.
you, some kind of girl?
Yeah, definitely.
She hates the Jurassic Park.
Oh my
series.
god!
What?
Oh, I
So
love Jurassic Park.
ridiculous.
I'm a girl and I love it. So.
Oh, you gotta. Well, I like the new one. You want to know why? You know
yeah,
why?
because Chris Pratt
Pratt.
is a honey.
Because he's a
Disney
honey.
dads. No,
No,
he's not
stop
a
it.
Disney dad. Sorry.
He is a father. He does have a
He is a
child.
father, though.
He could also be a Disney father. I'm just saying. Well,
Yeah.
we'll not sexualize him and call him a Disney
He's in Guardians
father.
of the Galaxy, technically a Disney movie. Technically,
Disney dads.
So that's why I like that one. But I'm not a huge dinosaur person, so going into this movie I was not like super excited. I mean, like Michelle said, I'm a Disney, I'm a Pixar person, so that made me more excited than, you know, if it wasn't. I probably would have never watched it if it wasn't a Disney or
I don't
Pixar
think I
movie.
would have either.
But
Right.
going into it, my first impression is a little interesting because Luis and I own this movie and we've seen it a couple times, and I remember how much Luis liked it and I enjoyed it. But going into it this time, I swear I must have been like on one or something when we watched the first couple times because I did not realize the extent of what the alternate reality means to this movie.
right.
So
Yeah.
rewatching it through that lens, it made so much more sense and it cleared up so many problems for me that now my first impression is like, whoa, like I'm seeing it with
Good.
new eyes
Great
because I
movie.
actually understand
Yeah.
what's
well,
going
I mean,
on.
if you missed that first scene where like it's very brief. It's like a minute where the asteroid comes and just goes right over
Misses
the
the
planet. Like if you missed that, you would just be like, why are the humans not as smart as the dinosaurs?
Right.
Like,
Or why do
Yeah.
humans exist at the same time as
The-
dinosaurs?
yeah, exactly.
The significance about that is that this being the alternate reality is that when the meteor misses the Earth, dinosaurs don't become extinct. And
Right.
instead of the
Correct.
cavemen being the ones who evolve, it's the dinosaurs who evolve because after the meteor passes, it gives you a subtitle that says 65 million years later, which would have been where we are in the lifespan of Earth as humans, but instead of it being humans, it's the dinosaurs who
Yeah,
have
so they
evolved.
had all that time to evolve. Humans just began, so they haven't evolved yet. So
Which kinda
therefore,
makes-
dinosaurs are on another level.
Well, and it makes sense as to why dinosaurs would have evolved in lieu of humans because they are the bigger
Right.
Yeah,
species. They have, just by their
the dominant.
your size, they're dominant. They have more resources with their necks and all of that loveliness. But it's funny because I really didn't catch that.
didn't get that.
In
At
my
first,
head,
yeah.
I was thinking we were in a prehistoric time.
Right.
Like, I didn't think about it being what would be now.
Because there is a scene that like flashes and says 65 million years later.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. Did I
Isn't it?
blink
I
really
think-
long?
That's why I
I've
said
been
if you
thinking that
if you miss that intro scene, then it does kind of skew. Like, why is the human called a critter? You know what I mean? Like, why is it?
I think they rushed that part a little too much because I agree with all of you right now. The first couple times we've seen it, yes, I read something about 65 million years, but I wasn't sure if it was like kind of after the meteor passed, like it was saying this is what happened 65 million years ago. I couldn't tell until this last time we saw it.
Like, it might have been helpful for me only because obviously I need a little bit more explanation, because Andre said this was an alternate reality, and I looked at him like, you're stupid. And then I thought, like, oh, it really is.
It is an alternate
It might have
reality.
actually helped me if, like, we had seen, like, maybe we had like a history map or something, and we actually saw like what our history might have been, like, dissolve
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
go back up with this.
It should have just shown like that image of the ape turning into a man, but
Like, going back
a-
down.
Like
a
with
big dinosaur
dinosaurs?
turning into a smaller dinosaur or something like that.
Like
I
a
don't know.
smarter,
Like a bit like his brain grew or
Yeah.
something.
His brain
that
gets
would be
bigger.
cool.
That might have at
Yeah.
least helped me think, like, okay, now we're in a completely different scenario.
Right.
Because a lot of times these Pixar and Disney movies happen in conjunction with our time period, the way things
Yeah.
are now. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
But not
even
this
like
one, for
even
sure.
like Wall-E, if you think about it, it's supposed to be
The
our
future.
Earth in the future.
Yeah.
Right.
Not like a different version of our Earth in the future. It's not like not even
Brave
Marvel
is just
or
in the
whatever.
past, things like that.
Exactly.
Right.
So anywho, that's like a huge way of saying whoa to my brain when he just had like a explosion or a non-explosion, I suppose.
Which is, it's also funny that you mentioned this alternate reality and that their dinosaurs have evolved for 65 million years, because you didn't realize that, like, the bird things that follow the storm are pterodactyls, but they're evolved pterodactyls.
Oh, you mean thunderclap, downpour, and cold front?
Yes. And then
Well,
also
The best
I
named
knew they were
creatures.
pterodactyls from
the
the
little
beginning.
Emily did not, because she
They
doesn't
didn't
like
know.
dinosaurs.
They were definitely pterodactyls.
They were
from the
pterodactyls, but evolved. And then as well as the, what did they call them that was chasing with the T-Rexes and the herd?
The raptors.
Yeah, but
But
they
I don't
didn't
know what
call
their
them
names were.
raptors. But
Velociraptors.
They called
they called them something else.
Like,
But they're raptors, but they're evolved, and apparently raptors have feathers now. I don't know.
well, okay, so back up
Well,
for just
that's
a
the thing.
second to
There's
kind
a
of explain.
Velociraptor type of breed that may not be called a velociraptor, but some of those raptor-looking dinosaurs did have feathers.
Interesting.
So, like, backing up for just a second, just to kind of explain what we're
Or
talking.
hair. I'm not sure if it's feathers or hair. Sorry. Just had to throw that in there.
It's feathers.
No,
Are
I'm
we-
talking about the real dinosaurs that did exist.
Yes, they had feathers.
Potentially hair.
Yes.
Are,
Chickens.
are we ready?
Diplodocus.
Anywho.
Nubbins.
Go, Emily.
I'm done.
Dinosaur facts
She's
from
done.
the boys.
Pretty much everything in this story, like, all of the characters are dinosaurs, and I guess that's what I had to wrap my mind around, is that all of the other side characters, I mean, obviously the T-Rex was a T-Rex. I didn't miss that one,
Right.
guys. But
Good job.
all of the other ones weren't just birds. I thought they were vultures, but they were almost like an extension of a vulture and a pterodactyl
Pterodactyl.
together.
And a
Right.
bat and a, yeah.
Yeah, so they were like the best form of a pterodactyl versus what Emily's brain thinks of as a pterodactyl. So now that I'm looking at the movie in that form, it really does separate how we think of as man and animals. Theirs was, dinosaurs and critters. Like,
Right.
it was just one or the
Exactly.
other.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
Like
all
mammals,
critters.
Mammals are in the movie. They're there.
Weird
But they're all
mammals.
critters.
But they're all
They're
critters.
critters. Yeah, mammals are critters.
They're not dominant
Reptile
species.
dinos are dominant. Which is a very interesting concept to me. Now that we're talking about it, I
It's pretty cool.
appreciate
Yeah.
it more and understand it. And also, I just have to say, like, this movie, for a Pixar movie, well, we'll say that Pixar movies can tend to be serious. Like, Up is pretty serious. Different movies like that. But this movie is serious and, like, a little
Very
bit
much.
dark. He's got some bad luck,
It's
that
kind
Arlo.
of violent.
Yeah.
Yes.
I got a quick question for you, Michelle.
Yes.
A little bit off topic, but not really. 'Cause
Sidebar.
It's your thing. What do you think about Henry as a Disney dad?
What does that have anything to do with what we were just saying?
Because
Henry.
Michelle always talks about Disney dads.
No,
Henry-
it's
Henry-
Disney dads.
Henry's a dinosaur. He's not a Disney dad.
And that's
Like
a lot better
Mufasa
than
wasn't
Mufasa
a
being
dad.
Okay, if we're picking a Disney dad from this movie, it's Daddy T-Rex.
Daddy T-Rex for
Daddy
sure.
T-Rex was a Disney dad.
Because he had a croc bite
Butch.
out of his face.
He was hilarious.
Butch?
Butch.
His name was Butch.
His
He
name
was a
is
Disney
Butch.
dad.
You mean
for
Jonah
sure.
Hex, dinosaur style?
Played by Sam
Legit.
Elliott, the most cowboy who's
Yes,
ever
he is.
cowboy.
Yes.
Yes. Oh my God. We'll get to that, but
Oh, Lord.
So, anyways,
Butch.
this movie is pretty dang serious.
Well, it's funny
and
because
a tearjerker.
Definitely a tearjerker. So we watched it together, and I had to make comedic moments out of the serious moments of this film, so I didn't cry like a little baby.
Especially you being a mom now.
Oh my God, like hormones, man. Like it's a real thing because we would see these like maternal and fraternal moments where like you should see a parent like either helping the kid or the parent is really helping the kid and something goes horribly wrong and you're like, oh my God, if that happens in my life, I'm gonna just croak.
There's a scene where Arlo is teaching Spot how what a family is.
Oh,
just,
God.
That sound that Emily just made, she made for the entire 7 minutes of that scene. She was bawling. I wrote down, Emily is being very hysterical during the family scene.
Well, especially when
true, though. It was
especially when Spot knocks over the 2 sticks and he buries him, and then he's like, oh, yeah,
And he howls because he's like,
because he misses them.
Yeah.
oh,
Emily
I'm
was
gonna
like,
cry
I
again.
don't know what I would do if this was my baby. She's crying, guys.
Well,
It's okay.
I don't remember you saying that.
Yeah, she
I'm
did.
pretty sure I
there
said
was
that.
a moment when like he was hurt and Arlo was hurt and lost and trying to do something. You're like, I don't know what I would do if it was my baby.
Mm-hmm.
Andre, to tag along to your statement of like this was a kind of I think you said somewhere along the lines like a very hard, rough.
It was like
movie.
harsh. It was harsh and a little.
It was
violent.
harsh.
Poor Arlo. I mean, let's talk
Arlo
about
gets
the time.
beat up in this movie.
Let's talk
Beat
about the time
up.
his whole life. I mean, it's like, could anything go right for this poor kid?
Right.
He never felt like he was good enough. He couldn't make his mark. And then his dad, they have this whole heart to heart, and he gives him a new job. And the new job is to kill the critter, and he can't do that either. So he really just feels
and
completely worthless.
The sad part about this is it's not like a sad story about a kid with bad luck because bad luck is usually pretty funny. Like,
Exactly.
oh my God, you failed. That's
this
funny.
is a story
This
about
is
like a
he's-
hard life.
Like,
Yeah.
this is real hard times.
He's kind of like useless for the first 20 minutes of the movie, right? Like
It's kinda like old-
He
like
can't do anything, and his
Old Yeller.
brother and sister are just excelling. They're just soaring.
And I
above
always
and
kind of
beyond.
think of him as like having like special needs. Like he kind of does. You know what I mean? He's way smaller than all the other dinosaurs. And if you were doing survival of the fittest out there in the world, Arlo would be dead. And that's why his dad
Probably,
is
yeah.
like, come on, you gotta face your fear.
You're
you gotta
not
man
gonna
up.
survive
Because he
out
doesn't
here,
want his
Arlo.
son to just be dead. Really?
To me, he just seems like the runt of the litter.
Yeah, he's the runt.
Everybody has
definitely the runt.
seen a runt in the litter. It's
But he
not
came
as
out of the
if-
biggest egg.
yeah,
Which is
that was
hilarious.
Hilarious.
No, talking about them coming out of the eggs, the funniest part to me was like even before his egg cracked, you could already tell Arlo was like timid because his egg starts to crack and then it stops.
Right.
And then Buck comes and hits it more so it could crack even more. So even in the cracking, I think Arlo was already like, oh, I don't want to go. You know?
Yeah.
I don't blame him.
It's scary
Buck was
out
gonna
there.
hit him with a stick. He already knew.
Oh,
he was
Buck
like,
is
no.
straight up Bam Bam from the Flintstones. He
Completely.
immediately picks up a stick and just starts smacking things with it.
So this is how I think of them. Like Libby is the smart one,
Yes.
and
Buck is the strong one.
the strong
meathead.
one. And
He's a
yeah, he's the
meathead.
meathead,
Yeah.
and the Arlo's just the little shy, timid runt. So cute though.
But he's too cute.
Too
I mean,
cute.
There are some moments in this movie where Arlo is you see his character evolve and he's really trying to become what he thinks his dad wants him to be, which it's not like it's not like some of the movies where you're like, wow, he's never going to get to he's never going to get where he should be. But, he's trying to grow up or whatever, and he just fails miserably because he's so scared. When he goes into that chicken coop and he's trying to feed
like,
the
"Listen up."
chickens.
Henrietta?
Henrietta scares the bejeebies out of him.
Henrietta scares me. She is a
Yeah.
scary chicken.
Scares the bejeebies
Terrifying
out
chicken.
of me.
I like the other scene too, where his dad gives him a new scene or a new job. He's like, "All right, I'm gonna catch this critter." And he's walking around all military with the stick in his mouth, just waiting for the critter to
That
come.
looks like Lucille from The Walking
Yeah.
Dead. Like,
and then there's a bug, and he's like, "What are you doing? Get out of here!
Move
Bug,
along, Leaf.
move
Move
along,
along.
Leaf." And And,
was
and
funny.
to me, that's like a typical boy wanting to grow up to be a man and being like his father. He wants to feel like he's worth something, and he's just struggling.
It's a great
sad.
coming of age struggle.
A very good coming of age movie.
I
Poor
know.
dude is like Bad Luck Brian in Dinosaur World.
He gets swept away, and then he hits his head on a rock, and he passes out, and then he's far away, and he's all scratched up, and I'm pretty sure he hits his head like a few times in this
Oh
movie.
yeah.
And then when he's trying to eat, and his legs get stuck in the rock, and just poor guy.
I don't know how he doesn't have internal bleeding.
Right.
I don't know.
That's the
Broken
stuff
bones and abrasions.
That seems like really violent. Like he slams his head into like rocks, and they make those hits like really hard.
really
Yeah.
hard.
They slam him into
That
stuff.
first one where he gets knocked out, his whole body hit.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
it
Like
shows
he
emphasis
crunches
on
up
the
against
head,
I think
but
we
his
all
whole
went,
body hit.
ooh.
Right.
Like, oh.
Well, and
Poor
it's
buddy.
even it's so funny too that Andre said that the visuals are harsh because for me, sometimes when I watch movies, things are much more impactful if I don't see the real impact. Meaning like sometimes what you don't see is just as impactful as what you do see, like
Right.
gore wise or
Yeah.
like violence. And when like one of the first ones is when the dad Henry gets swept away.
Oh my God.
And right when the water should hit him and he should get swept, that's when it
Then it
blacks
cuts.
out.
Yes.
And to me, that's almost more impactful than watching him go
Yeah.
away.
Right, yeah.
And that happens a couple different times where it's like boom, and you kind of are left with like a oh no.
Yeah.
And I even got chills right now thinking about it because that's, I feel like, kind of instead of him watching his dad, that was almost him like shutting his eyes, trying to think like, no,
Yeah.
like not wanting to see it happen.
And I think those moments in the movies, like the animators really, really paid attention to those small moments. Luis made the comment that this movie doesn't have a ton of dialogue compared to other movies. It's
Very
more
true.
serious. But the visuals for this movie are extremely important. For
Oh,
moments like
100%.
that, even the scenery, where they are, all of it. They
is-
did an amazing job.
It
on
is a
that.
gorgeous looking movie. Like all of the scenery and backgrounds and textures
Absolutely
all
gorgeous.
look really good. I think the one problem that I have with it is that like the dinosaurs themselves look like a little too cartoony just to fit the background of everything else that's going on there.
Well, it's funny because a lot of times, like when we watch other movies, like I think of Pocahontas, and we talk about how beautiful the animation was. But if you think about it, the backgrounds were very watercolory, but she was kind of watercolory. So the whole thing was a tableau
Right.
versus a character on top of a background.
Yeah.
Right?
It mixed together
When you
well.
think here, the backgrounds, and we said this so many times, we were like, that. I'm pretty sure that's a real.
There's
like,
no way.
that is not
they
animated.
definitely
They didn't
went
animate
through
that.
the
Like-
Midwest with
Yeah.
a video
Just
camera.
like
They
in a
just filmed
helicopter,
mountains.
like
that water, oh my god!
It's so beautiful.
Right.
But then you look at it, and I agree with Andre, you look at that, and then on top of it, kind of looks like they placed a sticker.
It's Arlo's knobby knees wandering through this
Of an
beautiful
animal.
forest,
Nominees.
you know?
I think the best location would have been somewhere in between the Midwest and maybe kind of like pushing up towards Yosemite, not Yosemite,
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And they were literally like first time I watched this movie, I was paying attention to Arlo and all the other characters, but I was like looking around at the entire landscape.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it honestly seemed to me the only thing that was a bit cartoony for me might have been Tooth-Claw Mountain.
Clawtooth Mountain,
Clawtooth Mountain.
like
Whatever
in the
tune you
background.
want.
Okay, yeah, I
that
can
one was
actually
the
agree
only
with
one
that.
kind of seemed cartoony to me. Everything else about that
Only
movie was
because
like,
mountains don't particularly kind of peak like that, but I
Yeah.
agree with you. Everything was very visually stunning in this.
Right.
And I
And
think
gorgeous,
that's
yeah.
I think that's what kind of tips your brain off. Like I'm looking at one thing and I feel like the dinosaur should look a certain way.
Right.
There was one moment like there's a lot of cuts to just scenery in this movie because they really wanted to play up their animation, but they cut to scenery and this lizard just went across and I was like, wow, that looks good. And you guys were like, you're gonna eat it? I was like, no, it just looks really good.
I
Okay,
think we
first
might-
off,
we might
she
have been
was-
talking about food.
She was talking about
Whatever.
being
Always
hungry.
snacking.
She was like, hashtag always snacking. Wow, that looks good. And Andre and I look at each other like, you trying to eat that
Why you
lizard?
wanna eat the
Yeah,
lizard?
it was you said in an inopportune moment. That's
Yeah.
all. And that's why we thought like, what, you're trying to eat a salad?
I meant like they didn't have to throw in that little animated lizard, and they did, and it looked great.
Not to eat,
Not to eat though.
but visually it looks.
Gotta throw it out there. Not
Like when Spot,
to
you
eat.
know, not to eat because Spot's not
'Cause they
good
can
at catching
potentially
food.
be
Okay,
poisonous.
whoa.
Well, he's good at catching
Spot is
Spot
food.
is
very good at catching
fantastic
food.
at
But
catching
did I want to
food.
eat an iguana? No. Did I want to see you pull that head off that beetle and for me to eat it? No.
That's another thing.
Is a
so
beetle between a beetle and a ladle? Is that like a mixture between
I
them?
said a beetle.
A beetle.
I heard beetle.
I got an accent.
Get outta
Going
here.
down the
Okay.
bayou.
I'll take you
Gonna take
down
it.
the river, I guess.
I don't know.
Like, sadly.
But yes, a Spot is a very good hunter.
Well, it was funny because, like Andre said, there's so many moments where something happened and you kind of, and that was one of those moments where Spot catches this gigantic beetle flying
Yeah, it's
thing.
a bug. Ooh.
Flying bug.
He's flying through the air on this thing like it's a motorized toy. He gets it down on the floor and he's like trying to get Arlo to eat it. And Arlo, he's not. What do
He's
you
an
call
herbivore.
that? Herbivore. Thank you.
Yeah.
He eats
It does
herbies.
a close-up shot of the pincers
Which
of the bug's face.
Makes you want to hurl.
Cringe.
It's real gross.
very
I literally
realistic.
said, and then he rips the head off, and I said, "I'm gonna puke." Like, whoa.
You
It
see,
is-
like
I
it's
thought that was
meaty.
hilarious.
You see
Ugh.
its meaty insides, and it's one of those moments where it was so unexpected that it's funny and gross, and just it all at the same
Yeah,
time.
it was crazy.
The entire time during that scene where he's trying to bring him like meat to eat and everything,
He's so
the way he's
frustrated.
looking, he's like, "What's wrong with you?
Why don't you
Why
want to
aren't
eat
you
this?
eating this?
Yeah, my favorite thing about Spot is when they give him things to sniff out, and he's like, because he's totally a dog, right? Like
Oh,
he's
100%.
he's trying to sniff. That's why his name's Spot. Like, come
This
on.
whole story
He's
is
trying
just
to sniff
a
out.
country boy and his dog
Yeah.
go on an
And
adventure.
then-
Old Yeller.
Yes.
Yeah, I told the other. And then Spot, like when he gets something like real good, he like does this little like hind leg tap on the ground.
Michelle
and I
is
was
doing
like,
it
oh,
right now
so
in the room
cute.
for us.
Yeah.
Please
And then
do
he
that
even
again
does
so we
this
can
thing
record it and
like
post
this,
it.
hind leg tap. And then even when he's mad at Arlo, sometimes he just does like 2 back hind leg kicks with dirt in his face, which my dog totally does.
Andre's recording her
me.
now.
Get out of here.
What does he do?
Okay.
He does like a leg
He does
kick?
this. That's what he does.
Perfect.
Anyways, let's talk about Spot, because Spot, I mean, technically Arlo is the main character,
Yes.
but Spot takes the spotlight for me. Spot takes the
spotlight.
spotlight.
I kind of saw them as like
Codependent?
Yeah, they're a team.
No, he's
starring
gonna say
actors,
Co-stars.
co-leading role men, whatever
Yeah.
you call it.
Yeah,
They're
if you
both,
think,
they're both at the top of the call sheet. Spot and Arlo.
Co-leading
and
role
if you
man.
think about like the Animal
Instead of best
Kingdom,
supporting actor, it's more like
Co-supporting
Yeah.
actors.
co-supporting actor. You know?
oh, I thought you meant from like an animal standpoint. I thought you meant like how birds live on rhinoceroses,
No,
like they're codependent.
Codependent.
Yeah.
no, not like that.
Not like
They
the
kind of
codependent
are.
character in this freaking movie.
Oh gosh, should we talk about that?
Let's talk about him.
What
His
is
name is Forrest Woodbush.
Forrest
And
Woodbush.
he is
Which is funny because he looks like wood.
yes. I actually looked up what type of dinosaur he was, and being a non-dinosaur lover, had no idea how to say it, so I didn't even write it down. But he can blend in with his surroundings, and
Cool.
He's
when
Barney
you-
the dinosaur. He's that.
pretty.
Isn't that thing?
No,
Just kidding.
he's not a.
no, what's the
a
green
Barney.
one from Barney? That has the like
Like a stegosaurus?
yeah, isn't he a stegosaurus?
No, he was something else because
Darn
of his rhino-y, horny things.
Rhino.
Interesting.
But anywho, he is a creature hoarder.
Yes.
And it's quite hilarious, but also very frightening at the
he
same
needs
time.
to go to rehab for hoarding issues.
He literally is a hoarder. And
Yes.
he hoards animals for their strength or their knowledge or their ability to
protection
protect
and-
him.
Just one of them, he said, it was like, this is something. It's like a slug. He protects me from the creatures in the night.
I truly
And then
wish
what
I had
about,
written down all of
What
all
about
of
what's his name?
descriptions.
Debbie?
Soul Crusher. He protects me from
Unrealistic.
goals.
And this is Debbie. And he just doesn't say anything. This is Debbie.
And Debbie's like
That's
his
right,
sponsor.
Yeah.
we should keep
It's
him.
like his manager, because when he didn't get Spot, because they were like doing the naming battle to like name the critter, and when he was like, "Oh, it's been named, you guys are connected, like you win the prize," you know, and Debbie was like, "Ah!" Like he's like, "No, Debbie, you're better than this, Debbie." that was the one like very comical scene in the movie.
Well, and it's one of those two
He's
where
my favorite.
I had
Forrest
to think
Woodbush.
about
He's
Hilarious.
the best.
I didn't quite understand it the first time. Like, what But when you think about it from like if he was a human doing that, it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
It's
It's just as a
hilarious.
dinosaur, it's a little weird.
Yeah,
but
they're
I mean,
they're evolved though.
that's
They're,
right.
I mean, they're farming, so
His
they're
eyes
evolved.
across and everything.
But
That
the
thing
good
is
thing
the
about
best.
that character, this is really interesting. So he was actually Forrest
Forrest
Bush.
Woodbush.
Woodbush.
was in another Pixar movie.
He was.
Yes, he was.
What
He
was he in?
actually so it was an homage. It wasn't like he was a character.
Okay.
Oh,
But
okay.
in Inside Out, our favorite or one of our collective
Oh, I love that movie.
Riley has a memory of going on a road trip with her family, and it might have been when they were moving to San Francisco-ish area.
Yeah.
But she has the memory of them going down the road, and they stop and they take a family picture in front of a dinosaur statue, and the dinosaur statue is Forrest Woodbush. Or at least it looks very similar. So I will post the picture of that so you guys can see
Yeah,
it.
that's
That is
cool.
interesting because this movie and Inside Out came out in the same year.
Yes.
This is the only.
Oh, maybe
this is
that's
like
why it didn't
the
do
first
as well,
time that
'cause-
This is the first time that Pixar did 2 movies in one year.
Because Inside Out was fabulous.
Well, this is another interesting thing because another one of our characters were in another Pixar movie. Monsters U was originally slated, Monsters University, which I call Monsters U because it's
fancy.
one of my
Yeah.
I friggin' love that movie.
It's your
Anyhow,
alma mater.
it's my alma mater. I went to Monster U, and that movie was actually slated to come out before The Good Dinosaur, but it ended up coming out after. And when you are looking in the scene where there's like the simulator of scaring the kids at the school, there's actually a toy Arlo on the floor.
Oh.
Because they have toys scattered, and
Yeah.
like in other, I think in the original Monsters Inc. movie, they have like was it a Nemo or they have some other characters.
There was like the mobile.
Yes.
the mobile.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they have like different characters, but in this one specifically, they have an Arlo on the ground, which it was supposed to come out first, so that would have been like, oh hey,
Look, it's that character I know.
that Arlo. But now it's just a cool like callback to The Good Dinosaur.
Right.
I can't decide who my favorite like dinosaur character is because Forrest Woodbush is hilarious, but there's something about what did you say his name is Butch?
Daddy
Butch.
Rex.
Butch, Daddy Rex.
No.
He's
Those-
hilarious.
Disney Dad.
Those
for Michelle.
3 T-Rexes. Something about it.
So
I don't know
funny.
what it is. If it's just the whole scene where they're like sneaking up on their herd, and he tells Arlo, he's like, "You're gonna." Just a really weird stuff, and Arlo's like, "What?"
Well,
I
he's
don't
He's like,
know.
you're gonna go over to Shindig and you're gonna do a hollering and hooting, and then you're gonna go and then yelling and then bushing and rolling all over the nudes and tagging and
And Arlo,
Tagging it in, and
that's
he's like,
basically what it was.
Exact
And he's
quote
like,
from the movie.
Hilarious me. It's so funny though. And then when he's
it
telling
hilarious me.
telling the story about, he's like, "You ain't ready for this story." Who's the voice of him again?
Sam Elliott. So
Sam Elliott
his
is
real name is Sam the Cowboy
if
Elliott. That's his
if you don't know who
birth
Sam
name.
Elliott
Man.
is, just look up Sam Elliott,
you'll be like,
you'll know
yes.
exactly who he is.
Or look.
Does
at
he
any,
look like his dinosaur?
Look at any cowboy
yeah,
movie.
he looks
He's in
like
it.
he sounds.
Oh, he
Like
does
exactly
look like
what he sounds like.
Wow.
That's him.
Yes.
And the whole scene where he's like, "You're not ready for the story about how I got my scars." And he's like, "The croc, I was going in the watering hole, and then all of a sudden a bunch of crocs, and what was biting my face, and just everything about it." And he's like, "The only good thing about that was I wasn't ready to die today." I was like, he is a boss. He is so cool. I need him in my life.
My
I'm
favorite
just
part.
sorry, he was the best one.
He was quite
My
hilarious.
Daddy
favorite part
Rex.
about those T-Rexes is how they run. Because
Oh.
they don't run like the T-Rex in Jurassic Park. They run. Their legs move so fast, and their upper body does not move at all.
At all.
So
Well, it's funny because you think about T-Rexes as kind of bending over, like hunching, kind of like lurching forward with their arms out, like going to pounce.
Yeah.
These ones, like you said, are straight up,
Straight back.
like almost not even straight back. It's almost like they're arched,
Yeah.
kind of
I
shoulders
actually
back,
have an
Funny.
hands out.
I have an
It's
explanation
hilarious.
for you guys.
Okay.
Apart
Dinosaur
from me loving dinosaurs growing up, I was also into like cowboys and Indians. But they are pretty much cow herdlers or whatever the heck you
Yeah,
call
they're
them.
herders.
And herders, there you go.
Herdlers.
And when people ride a horse, their backs are erect. So they're really the cowboys that are the cattle
And it
herders.
really kind of did look like they were galloping
Yeah.
almost,
Yes, it's a
you know?
gallop.
Oh yeah, the whole bottom half of their body was like quote unquote the horse, and
Yeah.
the top was like the rider.
Oh
so
my
it's
God.
hilarious the way that they were running.
I do. I think they were my favorite out of all of the like sidebar dinosaur characters.
Well, and that
T-Rex family.
I kind of agree with that too, because when you look at the T-Rexes, T-Rexi, whatever, the family of Rex,
The Tyrannosaurus Rex.
They're a good family.
you think of them as being the, or at least we have characterized them in our present day as being the meanest of
Right.
all the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Vicious.
And they were most definitely the most helpful, and they actually really cared about
So
Arlo and
nice.
Spot.
Yeah.
Like they really helped him. They told him where he should be going, and they kind of helped him get over some of his fears.
Yeah.
They're what caused him to grow the most in like the whole
Yeah,
movie,
when Arlo was trying to help them herd and his cattle started going off to the side, he was like, "Oh no!" But it was like, "Get over there, yeah, yeehaw!"
he
Like
did
herding
it.
them.
Yeah.
And the daddy Rex was looking at him like, "Good job." I was like, "Oh, I wanted to cry at that moment." I was like, "He did it! He did it!"
I agree. They are my favorite dinosaurs.
Well, and it's funny too because I think it kind of is a good like build up to when you meet the Rexes is when you see them. Arlo's trying to get away from Thunderclap and Cowherd or
Thunderclap.
whatever they're called.
Downpour.
And he's running
Ugh.
towards what he thinks is what did we call him? Arlo's an apatosaur.
Apatosaur.
Yeah.
So he's running towards what looks like another apatosaur, and it ends
Right.
up as he gets closer
Being three
being the three
T-Rexes.
T-Rexes,
Which is cool.
which is really cool. But there is also what most people are calling an Easter egg. I don't know if we can actually call it that, but as you're running up to it, the way that the apatosaur is like figured, it looks exactly like the Dinoco sign, which is an
It does.
apatosaur.
I noticed that.
Which is the gas station sign in almost all Pixar movies, but
Toy
especially
Story
from
and
Toy
Cars.
Story
Yeah.
and Cars. So
I
that's
noticed
cool.
that as well.
What was cool about that exact scene is that as he's running towards them, the T-Rexes are attacking. Like it goes to prove how good of I guess dinosaurs they were, because they didn't even hesitate. As soon as they saw him running towards them, they began attacking. They were already defending him.
Right.
Of course, for a split second, we're thinking, "Oh no, they're going to attack him too," but then they end up helping them, and they attack the pterodactyls. But they did not
So cute.
hesitate at all. As soon as they turned around and they saw what was going on, they were
That's
going
good
to help.
family values, everyone. Oh,
They're my favorite. I feel the most connected to them, and I need to know what happened to their mom. I need to know.
Yeah.
Where's their
Wait,
mommy?
Nothing has
Where's
to happen
their
to the mom. What if she's just at home chilling?
Home. They're herders. I think they're on the run.
The
They're
woman's never
nomadic.
out herding with him.
They're nomadic.
I don't know.
What is she, a hunter-gatherer?
She's,
No, I
she's
mean, I
taking
hate
care
this-
of the ranch.
Yes. I
The
hate to say
ranch.
this, but
She's
at
home on the range.
She's at home, rearing the children.
Right.
You know,
What children? They were right there.
those are the grown children. What about the younger ones?
I don't know.
Remember back then in the
Constant
cowboy times,
reproduction.
you'd have to have, like,
He's a
7
single
kids,
dad.
so only
He's a
4
Disney
survive?
dad.
I gotta Google how many kids T-Rexes have.
Disney dad.
756.
No. What did you say the pterodactyls' names are? Thunderclap.
Thunderclap, Downpour, and Cold Front because they
Because they
are
follow
They follow the
storm
storm.
chasers.
It's ridiculous.
Which, and they told us that they got their names from the storm. Like the quote-unquote storm gave them.
storm gave us our name.
The storm provides. Oh my. That even hurts. Like
The whole scene where they saved the little fennec fox, and he's like, "Thank you guys." He just eats it. I was.
That's
gasped.
another one
I
of
was
those
all,
Right.
moments.
One of those harsh moments, like, oh
Yeah.
my god.
Oh yeah,
Another
harsh
moment-
reality.
not so much harsh in a like not what you were expecting, but in a like really didn't think they were going to go there is when Arlo and Spot are trying to find food and they find the fermented fruit on the floor
that was so weird.
and they go into like pretty much a drunken stupor because the fruit is turning, and so they pretty much get drunk off of this fruit.
Which is so
They're-
weird.
Which is very odd, but
They're
at the
tripping.
same time, there's one part where I was like, that is weird when Arlo gets multiple eyes on his face.
Mm-hmm.
But the more I thought about it, and I actually looked it up, and this is, people are saying, do you remember the character Squishy from Monster U?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Squishy
he has
was
buck eyes.
he was in Uzma Kappa. He was one of the brothers. He was kind of like like an egg-shaped,
Yeah.
like little fatty.
Is he the one
Uh-huh.
that? Is he the one that dances?
Yes,
Yeah.
he's the one who kind of goes back and forth, and he had
They live in
multiple.
his mom's house.
Yes, they live in his mom's
That's
house.
right.
He had multiple eyes on his face, and it looks very similar to the multiple eyes on Arlo, which to me gives me a little bit more validity because I have had, there's been moments in my life where I've had a drink or two, and I've never seen multiple eyes on somebody. So at least that gives it kind of like another callback, like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's a little bit of a reference versus like
Right.
they just are having some kind of.
That was
Like-
the only scene to me where I was like, okay.
They're having some. What is the green elixir drink called?
Grunferry?
Yeah, the green fairy. Like they're drinking
Oh.
some other kind of drink. That
Absinthe.
Yeah. Absinthe.
Yes, absinthe. Thank you.
That's what I
Like-
thought you were talking
They,
about.
Like,
they were getting
whoa.
it.
Or like the one with the scorpion where you're not supposed to drink the scorpion, but it like
Mhm.
A
makes you
scorpion?
hallucinate. You've
It's
never
a
seen
worm.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought it was
It's
a
like a-
worm.
Oh, I thought it
Scorpion
was a
seems
scorpion.
a lot more
It's
dangerous.
a cork worm.
that. Oh, looks like a scorpion?
Never looks like a scorpion. Always looks like a cork worm.
I am pretty freaking sure
Okay.
that there is a drink that is like a tequila with a scorpion.
No.
Well, whatever. Don't drink the worms.
There is no, it's a worm. Luis is
Maybe they ate a worm inside of a fermenting piece of fruit, and that's what happened.
right.
Boom.
Yes.
I hope not.
Disney facts
Who knows?
with dads.
You guys.
What?
So
What?
I'm just thinking about Spot and how cute he is.
Mm.
He's so cute.
There is a tequila with a scorpion.
You know what?
Boom! Tequila with the scorpion.
But is it in the bottom of the bottle?
It's,
that you
Yes.
have
it's in
to
the
drink
bottle.
it
Yeah.
To get
Well,
it out?
no, it's a large scorpion. Why did I just?
Did I ever say you had to drink it? I said if you drink it, you hallucinate.
No. So
Don't
I
eat the
guess what I'm trying to
scorpion.
ask is it's real inside the bottle. It's not like an image on the label.
Yeah, no, it's a real scorpion
Like
inside
I
the
care
bottle.
about something printed on the outside of a bottle. You know what? There's a listener right now who is sitting and they're like, "Yeah, I drank it."
It's right there. I see it with my
Yeah.
own eyes.
Boom!
There's
I'm
a
looking
tiny
at it.
scorpion at
Gross.
the bottle of this
See, I'm a true Hispanic.
Gross.
There you go.
mezcal reposado.
Yep.
Gross.
Luis has nothing
That
to say.
sounds like a drink that Magnifico Bisbal would drink.
We're back on Magnifico.
Magnifico.
Bisbal.
Baseball.
Anywho,
All right.
it's in the book that we're reading that's boring for Addie, remember?
Oh yes.
He just died
Oh,
in the
no.
book.
Spoilers.
Hope nobody's reading that. He just died, and Luis and I both did. No! Boom. Okay. Moving on. Oh, so a couple more Easter eggs because who doesn't love them?
Sure.
Actually, I shouldn't really say Easter egg because it's more of like a reference to other movies because so we've talked about this a couple times, but in Pixar movies they usually do the A113,
Yes.
right? They do the Lexo ball and they do the Pizza Planet truck, right? Pizza Planet truck.
Planet.
So they usually do those three, and really. Try as you might, I couldn't see any. Most people on the internet are saying they can't find those three, but there's callbacks to other movies.
Right. I read that all of those were in there, but I definitely didn't see them while.
Well, yeah, I saw like this cloud is supposed to look like the Pizza Planet
Well,
truck.
the Pizza Planet truck was supposed to be one of the meteors that in the very first scene where
Oh.
like the meteor is gonna pass over Earth. It like there's a bunch of meteors like in like a meteor
Pizza?
cloud, and one of them looks like the Pizza Planet truck.
Okay.
And then the A13 is supposed to be on like the chicken coop. Like it's just like one of the sticks of the fence is they're A13 shaped. And then I don't think I read where the Luxor
Well,
ball
good,
is.
because I was like, and it's funny because people have fan theories, but to me, I was like, that's a stretch. Like, you are literally counting things in the movie that I don't think is they're trying to do. But anywho, so a couple callbacks, actually quite a few callbacks were from Jurassic Park. So you guys said that it reminded you
Yeah.
of that.
Mm-hmm.
There's
That makes
quite a
sense.
few. From the original, though, which
Yes.
apparently is the favorite movie of the director. So, I mean, that makes sense. But, like, in the scene where they're in the herd chase with the T-Rexes and they're hiding behind the rock, the big rock, in the original Jurassic Park, they were hiding behind, like, a big
The
tree.
bus. Oh, the
And a bus.
Yes, they've done
Um,
it. That's definitely a reference.
And then at the part where Spot is hiding inside the tree trunk, there's also a part where Julianne Moore hides inside of a tree trunk.
Oh yeah.
And then the part where, like, at the end, the T-Rexes roar after they shoo off the Wranglers or the whatever they're called,
Yeah.
the Rustlers? Is that what they were
Rustlers.
I don't know
Whatever,
what they're
the
called.
freaking feathery things. At the end of Jurassic Park, the T-Rex does a big old
Yes.
Which
So
is so funny because they wanted Arlo to do the roar too. They were like, "Come on," and Arlo's just like, "Rah."
and like when he does the howl and it's "Ooh," instead of ow, right? He has no gumption behind it.
Yeah, yeah. Spot has a bigger howl than him. I love it.
Can we
though.
talk a little bit
about
Oh, we're
what?
crying already.
about when
About
Spot
when he
left him.
finds his family, or
Yes.
It's not
Okay,
his family. It's
you're
a
right.
family.
he finds other humanoids.
Yes.
And Arlo is like, you have to go with them. And Spot's like, no. And he's like, you have to go. There's no dialogue.
I was going to say the cutest part of that whole thing is that she's so right. That exact exchange happened, but with no dialogue.
No dialogue.
Words.
And then he puts
Get outta here,
Spot
boy.
with the other humans, and he makes a circle around them.
So it's very touching. Even though I'm
It
making
is.
a lot of fun out of it, it's because it is very touching.
It's extremely beautiful.
There's a lot of really good symbolism in this movie, and
Yes.
it's really cool that they were able to do that without a lot of dialogue, because it's so funny that one of Michelle's favorite movies, I won't say just yet, but one of her favorite movies is very similar to this in that way, that there is much less dialogue, a lot more symbolism, and that's actually, I remember back it being one of my least favorite movies. So I actually want to go back really, like, after watching this one and watch that one again so that I can kind of look at
Appreciate
it through new
it
eyes.
in a different way. Yeah.
Which, Michelle, what is that movie?
Wall-E. Wall-E is my favorite Pixar movie. I'm sure nobody agrees with me, but it's fine.
Actually, it's funny that you say that,
Wall-E.
because I'm pretty sure that
Wall-E.
Hazen from the Podcateers has shared that he really likes Wall-E.
He's the only one then.
I mean,
Thanks,
people
Hazen.
don't hate
No,
Wall-E.
I like
Wall-E is
Wall-E
not a
too.
hated movie.
Yeah, but a lot of people, it's not their favorite
Sure.
Pixar
Truth.
movie. It's my
Again,
favorite
it's 'cause they're
Pixar
expecting
movie.
to be blown out of the water.
Yeah,
You know, you just got to go in neutral in the movie, and you'll find the beauty in it.
very
And
true.
almost all of them.
Oh, wow. Look at Louie getting all passionate about
He likes this movie,
neutrality.
don't you?
I like
Lou?
Wall-E.
So
I like
that's
Wall-E.
well, that's good to know, because I think I need to rewatch it so that I can at least look at it through new eyes. Because again, I think when I was younger, I was expecting, like Luis is saying, like everything needs to be a not only a hit, but this is the hard thing, is that Disney is so good about one upping themselves,
Yeah.
and Pixar one upping, and everything is more and more and more and fabulous. Like, does there come a point when you can't get any more fabulous?
Right.
Like, what if it's not hitting more and more and more? Like with Coco, again, we still haven't seen it,
Yeah.
but everyone says it is so far above everything that
Yeah.
we have seen.
Yeah.
Like, how do you
like,
keep?
Inside Out is one of the greatest Pixar movies I've ever seen, but Coco is like way better.
And
But the thing is that at least all of the Pixar movies, to me, are very different.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
in the way, like Inside Out is just these made up creatures in your brain, and these are dinosaurs. So at least I can appreciate them. If they were all humans, then it would be hard for me to like
True.
pick a favorite per se.
True. But I think that that's the interesting part about all this, is that I think Luis is very right. We go in and we think, like, is this better than something else? But
Yeah.
I think that we need to really think of them as standalones, because it's hard to judge one against another when they're so
Mhm.
that's true.
different.
When they're
Like,
different.
is Henry better than Mufasa? We don't know. They both come back to life to give their son parenting advice.
That's true.
In a somewhat
in
stupid
an
state.
ethereal
One comes in a
dream
cloud,
stance.
one is in a dream. I don't know. He is
One has
Mufasa.
footprints, one doesn't have feet.
They were probably talking to each other like, yeah. Mufasa was like, I came back to life to give my son parenting advice.
He's like, you can do
and
it
Henry's
too.
like,
Got
yes,
this.
good idea. That's what happened. Totally. Oh my goodness.
Something about squash bananas.
Is it time for Luis's battle?
It is time for Louis' battle.
Dun, 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 dun.
I liked our song.
Luis's battle.
It's time, Louis'
I liked our
battle.
song too this time.
All right.
Louis' battle. I want to get like an 80s hairband in here with like.
That would be pretty cool with a nice guitar riff, you know?
Nice.
Once again, someone please write that for us. We will put it on the show.
Oh, Louis getting it today. All right.
All right, ladies and gents, for this week's battle, I'm going to paint the scene a little bit for you guys.
Here we
He's
go.
gonna be
Let's
What's that painter?
imagine you
Bob
guys
Ross.
are
Bob
in
Ross.
a big city.
We're in a big
You've
city.
just gotten done with dinner.
Hold on, let
and
me
you
close
are,
my eyes. Okay, I'm ready.
And you are taking a shortcut down a very dark alley.
Oh.
So stop.
Wait,
Wait
I
a
got
minute.
done with dinner and I'm on an alley?
Did I? Where
You're
was?
taking a shortcut home.
Oh, I wasn't at home.
I
eating
wasn't at
dinner.
home eating dinner.
Gotcha. My
Gotcha.
bad. All right. Keep
You're
going.
Bruce Wayne's parents. Does that
Uh-oh.
help you,
Oh, there you
Andre?
go.
This isn't gonna be a good
Okay.
night for me.
Okay,
Does that
Okay.
help you,
That
Andre?
does help me though.
pretty much. Yes,
Oh,
you're walking
okay.
down that alley, and then,
Oh, and
one
oh.
of those rustlers from
They
the
take
Good
off my mom's
Dinosaur.
pearls.
He's gonna smack you.
I'm gonna have
Sorry.
to use all my money to travel
Keep
around
going.
the world and learn martial arts.
And one of those rustlers
Okay.
pops out and wants to take your cattle. Who
I have a cattle.
would be a better person to defend you?
Better defender.
okay.
Okay.
Better defender.
Okay.
Would you take Spot from the Good Dinosaur
Mm-hmm.
or Bam Bam from the Flintstones?
Now, I have my answer already. Let's just go through.
Go ahead and
go
explain
through-
it.
Let's go through their different abilities. Spot is a young child who has a lot of survival instincts. He bites, he runs, he scratches, he pulls off heads.
He's feisty.
He can touch
He's
your
feisty.
food.
You know, he's a post-historic little human.
Post-historic.
Bam Bam is a small domesticated boy.
Prehistoric.
Yeah.
Prehistoric. Correct.
Prehistoric.
Different universes we're in.
son of Barney, and I can't remember the wife's
We
name.
want to call her Velma, but I don't think
No,
that's
it's
her
not
name.
Velma. Velma is Fred's wife.
Deborah?
It's not Deborah. either.
Debbie?
The Flintstones.
I can't remember.
Meet the Flintstones.
Yeah. But Bam Bam has super strength. Bam Bam is an
Super
extremely
strength.
strong individual. He picks up cars. He picks up large boulders. He hits things and cracks them open like eggs with his little bat,
Which is hilarious.
which is
Uh-huh.
hilarious. So,
But you're going to tell me Spot's not
How big is this
feisty.
wrestler?
How big is it?
These are things I need to take into consideration.
No, size is irrelevant.
Okay.
Because let's say that in the universe, Spot and Bam Bam are comparable size, right?
Yeah,
They're both
They're probably,
okay.
young
yeah.
children.
We can say they're even the same age.
Who would I?
Who would you choose to defend you from the rustler?
So wait, Andre, I was a little
Man.
bit unclear. Who did you choose?
He
I
didn't.
definitely choose Bam Bam.
Okay.
Oh.
Bam Bam is my choice.
Why?
Because Bam Bam would take that rustler, swing it around above his head, and throw it into the sky.
Just like the T-Rex did.
Just like the T-Rex did, exactly. At which point in the movie I
Oh,
wrote,
but Spot's very
what did you
cunning
write?
and
Team
smart.
Rocket's blasting off again!
Yes, he did. He actually said it. It was
Oh
quite
my
hilarious.
God.
Because that was very reminiscent
Yes.
to me. I mean, not that I think that was like.
A Pokemon reference?
No, I don't think it was a Pokemon reference.
It's
but
just like a cartoony
it's
throwy thing.
exactly what
Yes.
happens in those very fantastic episodes.
Oh.
Luis just gave me a
That
face like
our
Pokemon.
significant others have made us watch. Yay!
See.
You're welcome.
Good.
that was like when Michelle gave Andre a look about the Little Mermaid. That was Luis giving me a look about Pokemon
Dodge that bullet. Okay.
Indigo League.
I think I'm also gonna go with Bam Bam. Does Bam Bam always carry his stick around?
Most of the time.
He just
yeah.
gonna be like,
He
Definitely a bat.
He
but-
probably has.
You know how like Arlo was
More
supposed
like a
to
bludger, not a stick. Or
Arlo
a bat.
was supposed to smash that critter. Bam Bam would smash that critter. He'd be like, boom, dead. I'm saying Bam Bam.
I'm gonna go with Spot because Spot I think is more imaginative in a way that he could I think that he could get in there and like think about pressure points. I feel like he could go up in there and take his two little fingers and get up underneath your armpit and
Emily literally just put her finger under my armpit
and squeeze
All right.
and he would
They'd lay-
go to
they'd lay him
sleep or
out.
something.
yeah, something imaginative
Right.
in lieu of strength because
You know
he's
what?
a little
I don't know that he uses his hands that much, but I bet he would go up and nibble all the pressure points. With his little
okay,
teeth.
he could
Oh,
bite the
yeah.
pressure point.
Yeah.
He bites
But
a lot
I
of
could
things.
see it being, it wouldn't be a strength thing.
No.
But he could maybe run around him really fast and get him all tangled in himself
Sure.
in a cartoony way.
Mhm.
But I don't think that it would be a strength battle. But I do think that he could outsmart the Wrangler better than Bam Bam.
Interesting. What
So
about
it's
you, Lou?
different.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna go in a different direction. I'm gonna go into their actual nature. Bam Bam is a toddler, and
Okay.
even though he does have this superhuman strength, he's a kid at heart. Bam Bam doesn't necessarily
Spot.
have. Bam Bam
Oh.
doesn't necessarily have that street smart. Okay, I think he would personally want to play with them before.
You're saying
starts
he wouldn't even defend me.
No. What I'm getting at is
Sick
first-
defender.
First, he would want to play with them,
Right.
and in playing with them, he might kind of, hurt him
Rough him up a
because
little
of his
bit.
strength.
Oh, I
But
accidentally
Spot
killed you.
Immediately would be in defense.
Oh,
mode.
yeah, he'd be growling.
and he would be doing anything and not
be kicking up
wasting
dirt.
time. And And for that reason, I would take Spot because Spot can immediately spot the danger, assess the danger, and get rid of it.
That's a very good point.
I mean, I don't know. If you ask me,
Spot would come in, put a spotlight on the danger, spot it out, spot him up.
He just wants to use the word spot as many times as
if you ask me if little young Bruce Wayne had more of Spot's character, maybe his parents would have survived.
And he wouldn't be crying about it for the rest of his dang life.
It wouldn't be Batman.
Rudy McBruderton.
And then where would we be?
Are we talking about Batman or Lego Batman?
Whoa.
Well,
saying.
Definitely.
Lego Batman. He is a Batman. So
I like Lego Batman better than regular Batman.
But regular Lego Batman or the stupid Lego Batman? Because there's two.
there's two.
There's
Lego
two
Batmans.
in the movie.
That's true.
The Lego Batman that the Lego Batman movie is about.
Okay.
So
Main Lego
the
Batman.
regular one, not
Yes.
like the
Lego-
oh my god, my life.
Lego Batman number 1.
Not that Lego Batman.
That
no.
was ridiculous.
Okay, so we have a tie.
A draw.
Ding, 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 ding.
That was good.
Oh, that was pretty good, huh? All right, we ready to go into our ratings?
Is it time
This
for
one's
ratings?
kind of hard for me to rate.
Ratings. I want to hear it.
Rating.
Ratings. This one's hard.
Are you gonna go first?
I'm going to go first. When I saw the movie the first time, I think I was just too sleepy, and I probably would have given it like a 7. But watching it this time, I'm going to give it a solid 9. It is a good movie. The animation is beautiful. It has a moral, has a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Oh.
Has a
You got high standards for this movie. A
If you
beginning,
don't-
a middle, and an
if
end.
you don't, like Louise said, if you don't go into
Pee
this,
my pants. Beginning, middle, and an end.
if you don't go into this movie thinking that it's going to be super comical, and you know, kind of in your mind that hey, it's a serious movie, and you're watching it because you're in a serious mood, but you want to just watch it, it's a solid 9. It's a good. I liked it. Shut up, Emily.
Andre's laughing just as hard as I
Louise,
am.
it's your
Beginning,
turn.
a
What do you
middle.
give this movie?
Actually,
And
I'm going to say something, but I want to give my rating at the end.
Okay.
Oh.
And also, Michelle forgot to mention, it has a great interlude
Wait.
and a prelude.
He's trying to
And
be
all
funny.
the ludes.
There's
All the
lewds.
dudes.
A prelude, a beginning, a
It
middle,
had
an
good
interlude, and an end.
credits.
You know, one thing we didn't talk about, and I think it's because it doesn't stick out, but once you're watching the movie, it's very important, is the score behind behind the action and the animation
True.
and everything. It's very beautiful. Now, it's not something that I think is going to be like on the next Disney soundtrack or anything, because there's no like lyrics, and there's not. It's very reminiscent of sounds in nature,
Yeah.
the music itself, and I think that it made a very beautiful scene for the animation, so that was really nice for me. My rating, I would give it a solid 8. I've watched it multiple times. Luis is giving me the thumbs down, like that's not a good rating. That's a
That's a
good
great rating.
It's a
It's-
pretty good rating.
it's
Better than my original 7. Like,
It's a very good rating. It's a very good movie. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I have watched this multiple times, and for having watched it multiple times and still giving it an 8, I feel like that's pretty good.
Yeah.
The reason that it's going down for me is the juxtaposition between the animation of the background and the dinosaurs. Maybe that was completely intentional. Maybe it was
Right.
supposed to
appeal to children.
yeah,
Okay.
because had they been super realistic dinosaurs with all of the action and all of like kind of the scary moments in this,
Would've been
it
kinda
might have
weird.
been like not PG.
Would have been like
It could have been PG.
2000s Dinosaur, which is another movie that Disney made that had like realistic.
That wasn't
looking
even a
dinosaurs.
thing. That like Andre's just
I don't
making
even know
that
what you're
up. That is
talking
not
about.
a
It's
real
totally
movie.
a real movie.
It is
We're
not a
gonna
real
watch
movie.
it right after this.
No, we're not.
We will not be watching that after this. But maybe maybe it's supposed to bring that child like maybe it's just supposed to. Maybe it was intentional. It wasn't my favorite part of the movie,
Right.
but it is what it is. But I really did like it. I'm giving it a solid 8, not like an almost 8. Solid 8.
Okay. I think I'm gonna give a similar score. I don't know if I want to do. I think I'm gonna give it a 7.5. So this movie,
Luis is upset.
Getting a thumbs down from Luis. This movie was good. It's a solid movie, but once again, like I know Luis, you keep saying like we should go into it without any expectations or anything like that, but Pixar has set up these expectations for us.
Very
you know,
much so.
that like these movies are going to be the best children's movies of all time. They're all classics. They're all hot fire. So
Oh, yeah,
you
like
should go
every-
into it thinking that this is going to be great.
It's the children's movie of the year in the year it comes out.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they almost like set themselves up for failure in that
Mm-hmm.
one because they had a Pixar movie of the year
already
come out that
that
year.
same year. Yeah. So
That's their
Yeah,
own
they should have separated
That's
it
their
for
own fault.
sure.
But
So
anywho,
just
sorry.
my own expectations going in, and then them not necessarily being met. That's a large part of why I don't like it. But there's also like I don't love, like Emily said, the background versus the foreground. Just I kind of wish that they matched more. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean that Arlo is too cartoony or that the background is too realistic. I just wish that they
could have met in the middle.
They synced up. Like the trees and water should have been a little bit more cartoony if Arlo was going to be that cartoony. Stuff like that. You know. I also think that it compares a little bit to like I had a lot of Lion King moments while watching this movie. Like when Arlo's dad gets taken away in the beginning, I had wrote he's about to get Mufasa'd, and then and then towards the end of the movie when they're in the river again, Arlo and Spot, I was like, oh man, is Arlo gonna get Mufasa'd for Spot? Because that whole scene is set up very much like that the wildebeest scene.
Yep.
Where Arlo has to save Spot from the nature, and you know, almost doesn't make it, but he does make it, and it's all fine and dandy.
Thank
So-
the Lord. Can you imagine if he had gone?
Oh,
It would have
man.
been. We would have taken it all the different.
Yes, it would have been all bad. So yeah, I like this movie, but it's definitely low on my Pixar list, and even in my general Disney list, it's not high up. But maybe after a couple more viewings or something like that, it would be higher for me. But
That's
for
why
now,
I think it was higher for me the second time. I mean, this was the first time you watched it.
Yes.
But like I said, that first time I watched it, I was like 7. But this time I appreciated it more. So my rating goes up. So if I watch it a third time, maybe it'd be an 8. I don't know.
Forrest Woodbrush is the best part of the movie.
No, it's all about Daddy Rex. What's your rating, Lou?
It's definitely the worst part of this movie.
Best part.
I'm gonna go and give it a 9.5.
Nice.
I really love this movie.
Wow.
I'm not surprised though because I remember the first time Luis watched this movie, we bought it I think like at Target or something, just kind of on a whim, and we watched it, and he literally like the credits started rolling, and he said, "This is the best Disney movie." Like just with that much conviction, he was so excited about it, and it actually made me like it more because he liked it so
Yeah.
much.
Right.
Like to see him get so excited over it, it really made me like it a lot more.
I mean, in case our listeners don't know, I don't like a lot of things very often. So what she just
He
said,
doesn't like much.
what Emily said carries a lot of weight.
Right.
But
He likes this movie almost as much as he likes me.
Wow.
That's not true. But anyways,
I'm a 10. This movie's a 9.5. So
0 to 60. But let me give you my reasons why.
someone's gonna get beat up later.
My reasons why is because there is no annoying character. There's no Mr. Potato Head. There's
Forrest
no
Woodbrush
cheese.
is not a
Forrest
great.
isn't annoying?
Well,
Forrest Woodbush is amazing.
had he been in it a lot longer and been more of an involved character, yes.
Agreed. It was short enough
It
to
was
be
short.
okay.
Short,
So,
sweet.
For me, he's almost non-existent.
Okay.
It was almost as if it was literally a tree talking. But anyways, that's one reason why I love this movie. A second reason why is because I am a big movie goer, but I'm a very as interesting or as opposite as this may sound. I love movies, okay? And I mean as opposite as it may sound to the I rarely love things.
He's
Right.
just a critic.
Okay, yes, I am a critic, but I love all types of movies and different kinds of genres, different kinds of languages, different kind of...
We watch a lot of movies with
Anyways,
like
Yeah.
what I'm trying to get at is that I love the fact that this movie there wasn't a lot of dialogue because it did not need any dialogue. I thought the dialogue it did have was perfect. This was one of those movies where the actions and the expressions that they had carried the story, and I enjoyed that a lot.
Luis really likes this movie.
Luis is like those
Do you have something to say
those
about
old
this movie?
crotchety Muppets that sit up in the tower and criticize everything. But this
Yeah.
is the one.
Is
this
this
is the one thing they
movie
love.
in your top 5?
You know what? It's funny you say that because I definitely did say top 5 for sure yesterday, but I need to look back and make sure that I have a spot for it.
Right.
You only have one more spot.
Okay, do I really?
Yep.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
you've named 4 movies out of your top 5.
Then this is top
already.
5.
I'm pretty sure it was like the
This
first
is
4
top 5?
episodes.
Yes.
Like,
Top 5.
oh, top 5. He's done, y'all.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm pretty sure he's
bad.
just saying top 5 so that he doesn't have to be on the podcast anymore. I think he's just
Oh,
like he's
get
like
outta here.
You know we're moving into top 10 now, right? You gotta go to the
Top
next
10.
6.
Yeah. No, I'll still be on the podcast. Don't worry.
Good. We
Thanks.
love you too.
I know. We're
Phew.
glad.
Yeah.
I think
9.5.
the listeners just went,
9.5.
"Oh Lord, thank you."
No, they didn't. They love Lou. They think
Yeah.
he's
No,
hilarious.
I'm saying they're happy that he's gonna stay.
Oh, I
Yeah.
got you.
Because if he
It was
wasn't
a
gonna
real-
stay, he was like,
It was a real tense
I don't
moment there where we
know.
thought Luis was gonna leave the podcast.
Luis has a lot to say.
13 episodes in.
Hilarious. What's its Rotten Tomatoes?
Yeah, so I forgot to mention that it has a Rotten Tomato score of 77%, which is still certified fresh. Good movie, you know.
Not bad.
It has.
I would still buy
Not
that
rotten.
tomato.
not
Still
rotten.
certified fresh.
It's
You know?
still beating most of the DC Universe movies.
Exactly.
Wow.
Is the certified fresh? Yeah.
Are you ready to go down the bayou, Michelle?
Going down by you.
Goodness.
It's so funny because my older sister was over a couple weeks ago and I was talking and she was like, "Why do you have a southern accent?" And I was like, "I don't. Like, I don't know what you're saying." And so then I started singing that song. I was like, "This is my southern accent."
This is when you have a southern accent.
I mean, you
It
do
was funny.
tend to talk with a southern accent every now
It's
and then.
because my family's from Oklahoma.
You
It's
But
get
fine.
excited, you
when
start
was-
talking like this.
When was the
I
last time
do.
you went to Oklahoma?
I've never been to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
When was the last time your family went to Oklahoma?
I don't know.
Does your mom have an
Oh,
accent?
My grandma Maul, my grandpa Paul, they from Oklahoma.
Were you
My
involved or near any
grandmama.
kind of particle accelerator explosion that brought out this Oklahoma southern accent?
We'll keep that a mystery.
Oh,
You never
Can we
know.
hear
mystery.
the other score on IMDb, please?
wait. Oh, the IMDb
Well,
score.
don't you usually
is-
give both?
Yes. So the IMDb score is 6.7 out of 10.
Boo.
It has a
Interesting.
meta score of 66. Out of
Boo.
10. So you know.
Interesting.
Boo.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of
It's
to be
taking it all the way
expected, though.
down.
Yeah. This was
Taking it all the way.
This is one of 3 Pixar movies that has not been nominated for an Academy Award. It's
What are the other ones?
The Good Dinosaur, Cars 2, and Monsters University.
Boo.
Which is, I'm sorry, Monsters University is so good.
I love Monsters University.
And it's funny because you had said earlier, I know we're not talking about that movie specifically, but Cars on its own, Cars 1
Is
was
great.
really good.
yes.
Cars 2
Womp womp.
was, if you think of it completely separate from Cars 1, it was kind of good, but it was very, I don't know how to say it. Like for a specific type of viewer,
Right.
Yeah.
almost. And so I can imagine where it
Too Fast, Too Furious.
it just, and I'm not. I am so slow.
I love Too Fast and
And
Furious.
happy.
Too Fast and Furious is like an 8.5. This is a 9.
He just got so excited.
Which
he
one
got
was that
all
one?
up in
The one in
Michelle's
Miami?
face.
Yeah. That's
With
one
the
of my
skyline?
Well,
point
whichever
is-
one they're in
Yes.
Tokyo.
That's
the
one with
point is
Tyrese.
what, Emily?
Yes.
The point is
That it's understandable that it didn't get nominated for
it's
something.
understandable
Right.
In that type of genre, except for Monsters U. Just whoa, people.
Whoa.
Not
Whatever.
understandable. Nothing makes sense.
Luis's-
Existential crisis.
Luis's
Whoa.
world is being rocked right now.
Yeah.
Speaking of rocking worlds, let's rock yours, people.
Ooh.
Yeah,
The
so
world's getting rocked.
The world's getting rocked. So, as you know, it was Michelle's birthday this month.
holla.
Holla. She's old. So, we have decided, and you guys know that we will
Downhill
be.
from here.
Oh Lord, letting you guys come in on choosing some of the movies that we do our reviews on. So at the end of every month, we will give you some options on what we're going to be doing. So next week's episode, you are going to get to choose out of choices that Michelle has come up with in honor of her
Yeah,
B-Day.
these are some of my favorite movies.
So we talked about this one already, and Michelle. I'm not saying-
Wally.
Michelle wants any of you to pick these.
Eva.
Wally.
Wally is great. I love Wally. I have mugs that's Wally and Eve, and you put them together and they make a heart.
That is not anything about the movie, but thank you.
They're very cute. Moms.
I love it. We'll have to watch it and find out why. What's the next one?
Burr, burr, burr. Peter Pan.
Oh,
Pizza.
I love pizza. Pizza Pan.
Peter Mullock.
No,
Who?
Pizza Pan.
Anyway.
He was trying to
I
say
love Peter
Malark.
Pan. Whenever I see him in the park, I'm like, pizza.
Also not about the movie, but moving on. And the last one is Hercules.
Honey, I think you
Oh,
mean
what?
Hercules.
Gladiator. Fun fact about
Hercules.
Fun fact about Hercules. Did you guys ever have like a go-to movie when you were sick to watch?
Hercules.
Mine was Hercules.
Mine was Hercules. As well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, no. Hercules is definitely in my top 3 movies ever. So
Pretty sure, don't tell my mom, dad, if you're listening, I'm sorry. Definitely, I faked sick a few times in elementary school so I could go to my grandma's house and watch Hercules.
I dig it.
My go-to movie was The Godfather.
When you were sick
Yeah.
and a child?
Yeah.
Okay.
You come to me on the day that my daughter is to be wed. Okay.
Oh.
Anywho, so
Yeah, so we got 3 movies for you guys to vote on. WALL-E, Peter Pan, and Hercules.
Yes.
So you will have 3 days, count it, 3 days to choose your movie. So we will be posting on our Instagram on Monday your 3 choices, the WALL-E, Peter Pan, the Peter Pan, or the Hercules. And if you leave us a comment saying which one you want, then we will tally them up by Wednesday at 5 p.m. At that point, we'll watch and we will record and post the next Monday, and we encourage you to watch as well so that you're ready for our episode.
Yes. So please go vote.
Yeah, so we'll tell you which one is the winner.
Yes,
Winner,
on
winner.
Thursday.
We will
Chicken
announce it.
dinner. Yeah, on Thursday.
Yes.
But I mean, if you're like desperate, you can like count the votes yourself. You know.
Please don't be
Yes.
desperate.
What movie are we watching?
I mean,
That's
get
how I
people
feel
to-
about it. I'm like, come on, let's find out.
Get your friends to come onto the page and comment their favorite movie and they
Yeah.
can vote too, you know?
Yeah.
So you can follow us on all of our social media platforms. We are at the Walt Vault Pod on Instagram. That's where all the action is happening. That's where you can go vote. But you can also follow us on Twitter at the Walt Vault Pod, or you can like us on Facebook at the Walt Vault Pod. If you want to ask us a question, feel free to check our DMs or on any of those platforms, or you can send us an email to contact@thewaltvaultpod.com. We may read your message on the show. The Walt Vault is available to subscribe on YouTube, Stitcher, Google Play, and, of course, iTunes, where we encourage you to leave us a review and a star rating. It's the best way to let people know that you like us, and it helps us get found on the internet, so please subscribe. That's it for now, but we will see you all next week on the movie that you voted on the Walt Vault. The vault is now closed.